welcome to Travel with Sean. I'm Sean, and in this episode, we're in the southern part of Portugal, known as Algarve. So come along, let's get started, shall we? This is the gate to Old Town Lagos. This is part of the fortress built in the early 13th century by the Moors, who were Muslims from North Africa. The Moors named their fortress Zawaya, which means lake. After the Portuguese conquered the city, they translated that into Lagos, meaning lakes. In the 15th century, this was the main gate used by the Portuguese explorers to reach the harbor, and from here they sailed out on voyages that led to the discovery of such places as Madeira and the Azores. It was also through here that they brought in African slaves starting in the 1450s when Lagos was the main entry point for African slaves brought to Europe. Ahead, you can see two cobblestone streets with a design of fishes, two fishes at the intersection. The fishes are symbolic of the historic importance here of sailing. And it is from here that the Moors expanded their settlements along the coast and called the greater region Garb al-Andalus, which became shortened to just Algarve. The Portuguese took their name from that region and called it Algarve. As we continue walking, we come to St. Anthony's Church and the Lagos Museum. The church was built in 1707 and sustained heavy damage from the 1755 earthquake. The repairs needed because of the earthquake took about 15 years to complete. The church is no longer in use as a place of worship, but is now home to the Lagos Museum. These tiles are examples of 16th century hand-painted tiles in Algarve. They are of a design and style of painting learned from the Moors, who lived here from the 10th century until Lagos was conquered by the Portuguese in 1241. Faro is the biggest city in Algarve and the second most populous. The Moors conquered it from the Byzantine Empire in the year 713. After Portugal became a country in 1143, King Alfonso I began to expand Christianity in Faro, which helped pave the way for the Christian reconquest of the city under King Alfonso III in 1249. And these are the city gates leading into the city. Here is a statue of King Alfonso III, who conquered Faro for the Portuguese. The Faro Cathedral was nearly destroyed in the earthquake of 1755. There's not a lot remaining from before then. The Chapel of Lord Jesus of the Poor has a statue of the Lady of Fatima added under the crucifix in 1929. The rest is from 1756, a year after the earthquake that nearly destroyed the cathedral. The baptistry dates back to 1708. The Chapel of the Blessed Sacrament is from 1673, and it had to have restorations in 1886 and again in 1950. Our Lady of the Conception Chapel is one of the cathedral's first chapels and dates from the 13th and 14th centuries. The cathedral's main organ was built in 1701 by a German organ maker, and it was installed in 1716. The box or casing was built in 1752 and decorated with Chinese paintings on it. The Chapel of Bones, built in 1664, was built with bones and skulls lining the altar to reflect on and embrace the frailty of life and to reflect on God's divine gift through Jesus Christ. O Infante Enrique, Prince Henry the Navigator, built a navigation school here in Sagres in 1418. It was here that he redesigned the ship and sails used by Portuguese explorers, allowing them to sail further from the coast. From here, he planned expeditions that led to the discovery of Madeira and the Azores. He built this school to teach sailing and map reading skills. He taught and lived here until his death in 1460. The doorway section was rebuilt in the 18th century to support and allow for the placement of cannons. This school was a place of learning for sailors wishing to go on expeditions along the west coast of Africa and hopefully around the southern point of Africa. From the top of the walls, you can see for miles in all directions. In the distance, you can see Cabo de San Vicente, or Cape St. Vincent in English, which is the southwesternmost point of continental Europe. There's also a good view of the Atlantic Ocean to the east, the south, and the west, which made it a vital part of Portugal's defense. This cross was erected in memory of O Infante Dom Henrique, Prince Henry the Navigator, master of this school, who lived from 1394 to 1460. This Church of St. Mary was built in 1570 to replace the church that Prince Henry built in 1459 as a place of worship for the students and faculty of his navigation school. Although there was some damage to the church in the 1755 earthquake, it did not require extensive repair. So most of what you see here is original to 1570. Now let's go inside and see what there is to see inside. You can see looking around that it's a small church, one aisle with pews on either side. The walls could use some paint, but overall, this is very good condition considering it's pretty much original to 450 years ago. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Then you can be alerted to future episodes of Travel with Sean. Thanks again.